It will not be a surprise to anybody who follows me, like on any of the social medias or like on the YouTubes or anything, that I've had a very rough week. It's been an extremely rough week. And as a result of that, it's been hard for me to do a lot of the things that I would normally do. But it's not stopping me. And that's kind of what I want to talk about with you today on this episode of Project Shadow.
Can you hear me? I have something to say. Project Shadow starts now.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset. And yeah, I am doing okay. I'm doing all right. I'm not doing great, but I'm doing all right. And today, on what will be the last episode of Fiction Friday, though don't worry, there's an announcement coming at the end, so stay tuned for that. It's not the end of this, it's just everything is changing. And that's kind of the point of it. I've gone through and kind of reevaluated how I'm doing just about everything that I'm doing. And I have come to some conclusions. One, I need to take better care of my emotional state and watch it a lot more closely. Now, I'm not saying that I did a bad job about it, and I'm not saying that I overworked, because I didn't. What I did do was neglect some of the simple little things that I know that I can do to keep myself from falling off the cliff. Because depression is a hard thing to cope with, and it's a hard thing to live with. But there are some things that I know that I can do to help keep the darkness at bay. They don't always work. It's not a guaranteed thing. But there are things that I know that I should be doing. I am not the best lately of doing my daily meditations. I stopped doing things that I love, like I stopped taking my Japanese lessons, and I stopped doing some of the artwork and the more frivolous things, because I just felt fine. And that is the most dangerous thing for someone like me who struggles with emotional issues, with depression especially. Because when you're feeling fine, it's easy to be like, well, I just don't need to meditate today. Or I don't need to do that thing today or the other thing today. And that starts adding up. And so what we need to do is, one, take care of each other. I always say how much I love this community, and I do. You all are amazing, and the fact is, some of you all saw this coming quicker than I did and started pointing it out to me and helped me to see it in myself. So thank you for that. But we need to be there for each other as much as we possibly can, because this has been a hard year. It's not a revelation if I were to say that 2020 was a giant garbage fire on top of a tire fire on top of a natural gas vent that was just spewing evil into the world all year. Like, it's been a nightmare year, and I'm hoping that next year will be better. But I don't want to pin my hopes on any of that, because I need to get better at not expecting outside validation for the work that I do. I need to get better at not expecting the universe to be in compliance with my need for stability and routine. And I'm not naive, and it's not like I actually did rely on the world for those things, but the fact that the world went as mind-numbingly crazy as it did this year didn't help with any of the issues that I had rising in me. So, yeah, there's that. But I have a plan that's going to get me out of this. At least I hope it will. Like I said, I have a plan. And that's a very important thing anytime you go to war against the darkness. Because all the darkness wants to do is stop you from moving. That's it. That's all it wants. And it's our job to not give it to it. It's our job to say no. So how exactly am I doing that? I feel like I have to say right out the gate, if you are suffering from depression and you can afford it, seek professional help. If you cannot, there are helplines that can help you and will subsidize that for you. But don't try to go through it alone. Talk to other people. Make sure you have a good network around you and people that can support you. But for me, what I have learned most over the years is that I have to fight my two twin demons. And the first one is my instinct to turtle. I want to pull up inside of my shell and hide from the world and not let anybody know what I am doing, what's going on with me, or anything else. And that's why I kind of overshare about my depression. It's not because I like doing it. It's not because I want attention. It's because I have a really bad track record of just not telling people it's coming. So, hey y'all, it's not only coming, it's here. But the second thing that I do is I just stop doing everything that I love. I stop doing everything that I enjoy. And that's giving in. That's letting the darkness win. Because all the darkness wants, what it craves, is for us to stop. To just stop. Not to stop a specific thing, not to stop any one particular thing, but just to stop. It wants to hold us and beat us down and make us do nothing. That's one of the reasons I love that Big Mouth personifies depression as a kitty, because the depression kitty is such a good analogy. It wraps itself around us, it purrs us to sleep, and it keeps us from doing any of the things that we want to do, that we know that we should do, that we desire to get done. And we can't give in to the depression kitty, no matter how cute it is, no matter how cozy it might feel. We can't give in to the depression kitty. So, what's my plan? My plan is to focus, to just laser focus on the things that I love. I love podcasting, so I'm starting some new podcasts. I am diversifying the work that I'm doing. I'm doing a lot more live streams because I really like being on live streams, and I find that they actually help my productivity. So I'm doing that. And I'm keeping myself as focused as I can be on the work that makes me feel fulfilled, that makes me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something, like I am doing what I want to be doing. Because that is the great lie. That is the supreme lie that depression tries to tell us. And that everything is hopeless. That there is nothing good. That there is nothing of merit. That there is nothing of value that we can contribute or participate in. That everything is sad, everything is terrible, everything is bad. And that is a lie. That is an abject lie. And once you learn to name it as such, it's freeing. It's liberating. It gives us the strength to stand up, to be ourselves. It's not everything. There are other things at issues here, because I feel like it's very important to say, especially for anybody who may be listening who has never suffered from depression in their life. One, you're very fortunate. But two, it's different from feeling bummed. It's not a bad mood. It's not anything like that. Depression, in my experience, I feel like the easiest way to explain it to someone else is the complete inability to feel anything at all. So enough's enough. I'm done talking about that. I'm done. We've done it, and it's out there. I've done my bit. So let's talk about something a bit more fun. I'm working on a space opera, and I'm doing it for National Novel Writing Month. I'm doing something very different for myself. I am attempting to outline it, which is not something that I would normally do. It's not something that I like doing, and it's not something that I do very often. And I'm not doing like a full-on outline. It's more, I'm trying to make sure I have my characters nailed down, some of the major events laid down, and I'm going to try to do the whole Chris Fox thing of knowing what each chapter is going to be, at least rudimentarily, and at least in a slapdash fashion moving forward through the book. And hopefully that will be enough. Hopefully that will work. And it'll be fine. That's my goal. That's my hopes. Trying to figure out exactly how big the story is going to be is a problem, because it has a lot of characters in it. It has a lot of moving parts in it, and there's part of me that wants to simplify it, and there's part of me that wants to make it grander. So I don't know if I'm writing a small book or a little book, and I don't know that I will necessarily get it done in... Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that differently. It will definitely be done. I am going to finish a plot arc at the end of November. That's the goal. Whether that plot arc would constitute a full book, or if it would be like Dune that has mini books inside of it, it's probably going to be more like that, with mini books inside of that, because I make Matryoshka dolls now. That's what I do. That's what it's all about, is nesting story within story within story within story so that it all makes more story. And I think I have my characters figured out. I finally have a name for my main character, which has been plaguing me, and why it's taken me 2 years to get to the point where I'm actually writing the story, because this main character has had, I don't even know how many names. I can think of 4 off of the top of my head, and I know that's not even all of them. I know there are more than that it's had over the years. But the main character now has a name. Several of the other characters have names. Not all of them, not all the ones that I need to have names, but enough. So hopefully this story will work. Hopefully this story will pay off, and hopefully everything will work just fine. Now, having said that, I don't know how I'm going to do some of the payoffs that I want. So I'm kind of thinking of this more as if I'm doing a TV series, and each of these plot arcs is being broken down into episodes and seasons. And I don't know if that's the best way to think about it, but since this is probably going to be a web novel, that's probably a better way to think about it. I don't know. But I'm thinking about it much more as episodes and seasons, because it's the best way that I've found to hammer out this story, because, like I said, it has way too many moving parts for it to just be a simple one and done, like, oh, I'm just going to tell this story this way and blah, blah, blah. Because I can't just blah, blah, blah this story. I want to blah, blah, blah this story, but I can't. So this is, if you are a regular avid listener and remember me talking back in January of this year, this is one of the stories I was working on then. And I was working on a little bit last year, hoping it would be a thing that I could do. And it has fallen apart so many times. But I think this is the charm. I think this is the time that it gets written, because it's not that it's been a problem with the story, it's been a problem with the characters. I haven't had the right characters. But I'm taking this month to develop my characters and to name them and to do all of the things that I need to do so that they are ready for when the story actually happens. Yeah. So that is the thing that I'm doing. I'm happy about it, but I'm really, really nervous. But enough's enough. The story is going to get done. It is going to get written this year. The biggest problem that I've been having is with this idea of, am I writing web novels or am I not? And I think I just need to come to terms with the fact that yes, I am. Because I want to have that relationship with my audience. A relationship to me is everything, and it's the most valuable currency in some ways to me right now. Like, don't get me wrong, like, if you got money, I would love to have some, because, you know, that's a thing I do not have. I have many windows open on my computer that I go and I literally window shop because it's like I really want a couple things and I don't have the cash to get them. Not trying to make you feel bad, not trying to guilt you did anything, just say it. But I also say that because some people think I'm naive when I say that, like, I'm more interested in the relationships, but I am. The thing I don't like about the model that I had, the business model that I had, is that everything went through an intermediary store, and some of that's still going to happen. Like, I'm still putting these books out on Amazon and everything else, but I am tired. I am tired. I am just tired of not having that relationship with my audience, because I don't know who these people are. I had a book sell several thousand copies, and I only know like 3 people who bought it. And I'm not even counting like people that wrote reviews or did other things. I'm talking about like people who became fans of that thing and actually reached out and talked to me. And that breaks my heart. Like, I want to have that relationship. I want to know these people. I want to have a closer, better relationship with my readers. And that's what I really want. So that's going to turn into me posting a lot more quickly onto mainly the World Anvil site. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to be using their manuscripts feature. Probably will be, because it will help a lot for me to do that. But yeah, I want that relationship. I want that connection to my readers. So yeah. And that doesn't mean that's going to be the only place I put it. I have created a Royal Road account, and I'm looking at doing that. I have my Wattpad account, and I'm looking at doing that. If you know anywhere else that web fiction generally goes, let me know so I can do that as well. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. I think I have a plan for how I want these stories to actually come out. And if I can stick to it, if I can do it, it will be great. Not because like my stories are great, but because I have what I've been striving for so long. I have a plan. And I need that. I need that so much. But yeah, be looking forward to some of this and looking forward to some of the stuff that I'm doing, because the best part of this is that I can see a next. Like, I know how I want to do this, and I know what state I want each story to be in before chapters start coming out, so I don't have stress and nightmare feels about it, because that's really the big problem for me, is the stress and the nightmare feels. So I know where I want these stories to be. I know what state I want them to be in. I may or may not know the order in which I want them to come out. That's a big matter of debate in my own head right now. But I do have a plan. And with that, there is a way that my stories will find their home out in the world. And I don't think, especially this year, anything more could be asked of any of us. So buckle up. It's going to be a crazy, crazy ride going forward, because we are going to set the internet on fire. Even if it's our own little campfire over in the corner where we huddle and talk amongst ourselves. It's going to be amazing, and I just can't wait to share more of all of these wonderful stories with you. Because that's the thing. Basically, the main argument I'm having with myself right now is, are they going to be put out together en masse, or am I going to hold them back and do them individually? I haven't decided. But we'll see. Only time will tell. I've had the conversation with so many writers lately that I just feel like I need to say it on the podcast, because I don't get to talk to all of you, and that's a shame, because I would probably really enjoy that. But the biggest thing that we need to do right now, the thing that we need to be focused on most, is seeing tomorrow, imagining another day. Because that can be really hard sometimes. That can be very difficult sometimes. And especially now, with so much going on in the world, whether it's in politics or with the pandemic or with any of the other things that are going on, it can be really hard for us to imagine a tomorrow, to imagine another world, to imagine what the future can hold. So I just want to give you permission to do that. And I know you don't need my permission, and you don't want to see that sometimes, because sometimes all you can imagine is the darkness. Sometimes all you can imagine is the bad things. But we are going to get through this. We are going to have a better time. We are going to get through it. And I'm not just saying that as some kind of a rah-rah-rah thing. We are. We are. We are a powerful community. And when we set our minds to something, when we decide to do something, we can take over the world. We can do whatever we need to do to get the job done. And the only thing that holds us back is our lack of imagination and our inability to trust ourselves to do the work that we want to do. We tell ourselves all the reasons that our dreams are not viable, all the reasons why we cannot do the things that we want to do. And in that, we hold ourselves back. So don't do that. Don't hold yourself back. Don't prevent yourself from reaching out and trying things and doing what you need to do to have that better life. Because it's there, and it's just waiting. It's just waiting for you to lay claim to it. And that may sound like some self-help claptrap, but it's not. This is my lived experience. So much of life is just showing up. And that sounds like such a cliche, but it's not. So many people don't get the things that they want because they don't show up. They just assume, they just presume that they're not going to get them, so they don't even show up for the opportunity. Well, if you're not there, you can't find it. If you're not there, you won't get it. You have to show up. That's the one thing required of us. So, what is it that you want? Name it. Write it down. Write a contract with yourself that you're going to work towards that thing. No matter how unrealistic it feels. And it can be insane. Like, write down, I want $1 billion. Yeah, are you going to get $1 billion? Who knows? Who knows? The world is a randomly chaotic place. But at least you know what it is you want. And I'm sure your goals and your ambitions are not as out of reach as that. If you really were to look at them, it's all about breaking it down and finding the things that you can do. It's all about taking the time to be honest with yourself about what you want, what you can do, and finding the ways forward to get to that place. But we can get there. I know we're all dealing with our history in black right now, Which, if you're not familiar with that song, that's just about like all the depression and all the bad things coming back to haunt you. Because I talk to a lot of you, and I know we're all kind of in that place, but we'll get through this. And when the next challenge rises, we'll get through that too. That's the whole fight. I have faith in you. You should have faith in you too. So this is the end. And it's not the end forever. And just to be clear, Project Shadow is going to be continuing. You will be getting a new episode of Project Shadow every Monday. But only every Monday. This podcast is going weekly. It is. It is going weekly. I know y'all want more from me. And you know what? You're gonna get it. But this is the last Fiction Friday of this podcast. There will be a podcast to replace it, and I'm not ready to announce that yet because I only want to be launching one podcast at a time. But there will be a podcast in the works. I already own the domain. I'm already working on the artwork. I'm doing the whole thing. Like, it's there. I have an entire season planned out for it. So get ready for that, because that's on the horizon. But yeah, we're going to weekly again on this podcast. But if you don't have enough of me, if you need more of the dulcet tones of my voice, well, right now, right this minute, you can go and subscribe to Mythweaving. That is my new writing podcast that will be devoted exclusively to writing and world building. And it's up on most places right now. As I'm recording this, it's still in review for Apple Podcasts. So that one may take some time. But most of the other places that people listen, it's already there. Go check it out. If you like the stuff that I've been doing, you'll notice it looking very familiar to you. Because I wanted it to not be empty when it started. Because I've been doing a lot this year on world building, and a lot of people have been expressing their frustration with having to go and find the playlist and listen to them on Spotify if that's not their app of choice. So all of World Building 101 has been moved over there, and that has become season 1 of this new podcast. And all of World Building 201 has also been moved over there. So if you've been listening to all of it, you're caught up. And new episodes will be starting in 2 weeks. Why in 2 weeks? Because since I'm going to be able to start pre-recording this podcast, my patrons, if you're at the $1 level, will be receiving new episodes of Mythweaving a week early and commercial free. I'm very excited about that because that's yet another reason to support the show and to help out with the Patreon. But if you don't have the money, don't worry about it. The free episodes will be coming out with commercials a week later. So there will be a 1 week interruption in that schedule for you if you are not a patron. But if you are a patron, next week you will get the new episode already. There should be instructions in your podcast feed, in your patron rewards to how to subscribe to the podcast, because it is through Patreon itself. I'm very excited, and I hope you are excited too. This opens up a whole new range of things, and for patrons, I will be doing a lot more exclusive audio content. And when the next podcast launches, which will be taking the place of Fiction Friday, it will also be available to patrons first, and then to everybody else shortly thereafter. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. This is a whole new world for me, and I'm hoping that it pans out, and I'm hoping that it works. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, do let me know. It helps out more than you know to have ideas of what you all want me to be talking about, because there's so many things I want to talk about that it's difficult. Alrighty. If you have $1 and would like to subscribe over on Patreon or anywhere else, my coffee account is down in the show notes. all that. Thank you so very much. It does mean the world to me. I'm really bad at that because I kind of already did the Patreon pitch already by accident. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for giving. All of you who do over there, it really means the world to me. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, and I promised myself I wouldn't cry. But it's been a hard week, and I'm getting emotional about this. But if you don't have any money right now, or you don't feel like giving, that's perfectly all right. But if you know anybody that would like anything that I do, please share it with them. That helps out more than you could ever possibly know. Alrighty, thank you so very much for everything that you do and everything that you are. And don't forget, Black Lives Matter, Black trans lives matter, trans identities are valid. And may you have the courage to ride your dreams to reality. And don't forget to have the fun.